what to think.
Okay,
Maybe
Keith,
you're still being selfish because I didn't explain to you why you have to give more.
America, I wish I was talking to Keith Abloh on Monday, because if he just said this after you'd see our documentary, our special tomorrow, this would make you break out in a cold sweat, because we're talking about progressives, communist, Marxist, people like Che and Fidel and everybody else. That was their philosophy, that, you know, people just, you know, they're going to be dumb and they're just not going to do it. And you know what? I'm just going to keep talking to them. But if they don't get it, I mean, they're just going to be some, and they're going to stand in the way, and we're just going to have to deal with those people. I mean, that's a pretty scary thing to say.
Well, if you look at a person who sees himself as a very strong parent to children who need direction, and then you add in, and I'm not diagnosing the man, and I don't pretend to have made a complete study here, Glenn, but if you add in a dose of narcissism, you can see that too, because after all, the president said of Scott Brown's election here in the great state I call home, Massachusetts, he said the same anger in the voters that brought this man to office is what brought me to office. That's like somebody hearing from his wife that the marriage is a disaster and he should leave in favor of her new husband, and saying, well, love brought all of us together, didn't it? Well, no, I don't like our marriage. That's why you're being asked to leave. I have a new lover. He doesn't internalize that. What he says is, no, it has nothing to do with me.
Okay.
I won't internalize that criticism.
All right, help me out on this, because the question that the case that we've been laying out on this program for a year now, and I think we've made a pretty solid case on it because of who he surrounds himself with. The guy is a radical. He is a Marxist, radical, revolutionary, or at least the people around him are, and I think I don't know, maybe he's the kind of guy who's like, yeah, I'm kind of with them. I don't know. But the people around him and designing some of the things, they are radicals. Is that who you think he is? Do you see any telltale signs? I mean, you know, here, I've never heard anybody ask this question. What does the changing of his name in his college era, when he was, you know, hanging out with Marxists and, you know, radicals and everything else, his own words in his own book, when he changes his name from Barry to Barack, that's got to be a significant moment in his life. If do you seal what you were feeling at that time, and does that brand you by changing your name like that internally?
Well, you know, listen, I think that was brewing in him for a long time. After all, he has said, and I think you have a quote, I came with notes from President Obama on his childhood, in which he says, I don't want to romanticize it. I mean, it was a 15 or 16-year-old kid getting high. It was just a young man who didn't have a good sense of what was important in life. I think that if I had had both parents in the house, listen to that, if I had had both parents in the house and I was guided by a constant and steady hand all the time, that I probably wouldn't have made some of those mistakes. Okay, so what's he describing, Glenn? He's describing the absence of his father. He's raised by his mom, a white woman, his maternal grandparents, both of them, of course, white, a sense of being ostracized and looking for himself. So the name change that comes eventually is his grasping at that and his inviting into the fold these very strong, radical voices of men. They're males with strong, radical voices. Also goes with reclaiming the name Barack.
Hang on just a second, because I mean, it's cool to listen to two, you know, like, hey, you know what I think it means? Oscar is over here on camera 3, and I just saw Oscar go, no. You buy any of this, Oscar? Well, I don't think that's, he's saying, I think you're too caught up in the race thing. Is this a race thing, Keith?
Well, listen, let me say this about that. We can use Barack's own words. I think you have a quote from him, a clip, actually, a soundbite about his grandmother.
Give me the clip. Give me the clip.
Okay,
he said, once confessed her fear of black men who passed her by on the street, and who on more than one occasion has uttered racial or ethnic stereotypes that made me cringe.
Okay, so what does that tell you?
Well, here's what it tells me. Listen, don't call it race. Just call it being unsafe as a child. The people who are raising you have the ill temper, the bad judgment to make untoward comments toward people who bear physical characteristics like yours. You could have been handicapped and had that same kind of terrible thing said about other people struggling against the odds, and it would have branded you and hurt you. And you wouldn't have relied on those people. You know what you would have said? I need a stronger hand, just like what he told us. If I had had people watching me every minute, guiding my hand every moment, well, guess what? That's who he's become. And who is it in his life that he looks to for that kind of sustenance and guidance? The Reverend Wright, Andy Stern, and others who can say things with vitriolic fervor and who are strong male figures who have it in for the establishment. The establishment hurt our president. His family wounded him deeply.
All right. Keith, next time tell me what you really think. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Now, how many times have we said, watch the other hand? Yesterday was a great example. I mean, it was a big day for news. Almost too big. Because the other hand was busy doing things and people didn't notice it. I'll break all of the news that didn't break next.